If you or a loved one lives in New York, then you may be eligible for free healthcare. Zohran Mamdani passed a bill recently on January 8th where he allowed all 6-week-old babies to 5-year-old kids get free healthcare, no charge extra. And I think that's amazing. First of all, we got to take care of our kids. I think the biggest thing that stands out to this is how much better treatment we're going to have for our kids. I think the biggest thing that comes to my mind is how many kids get cancer. I mean, everybody sees those St. Jude commercials where all these kids, unfortunately from a young age, they're already diagnosed and then they're battling a long life of cancer treatment. Or sometimes in unfortunate circumstances, they battle a short life of cancer treatment. And I think having this universal health care will, one, help out the parents, but two, it makes sure that the kids get the treatment that they need. And not having to worry about that as a parent, I'm sure is a huge relief for anybody. Doesn't matter what party you are, not having to worry if your kid's going to be able to get the treatment that they need. It's amazing. And not being able to, or not having to go into debt to make it happen too. Incredible. They passed this bill by allocating $6.5 billion estimated into making this happen for New York City, which I think sounds like a lot on paper, but most of these states generate about like $200 billion plus, especially in New York. They're on the way higher end of this. And so allocating a little bit of money in the grand scheme of things, not a bad idea for how this is starting. What I think is also worth noting is that Mamdani did this in partnership with the governor, and now they're exploring ideas on how to maybe make it universal for all New York residents, not just New York City. And along with it, they're trying to get kids from the age of 4 years old to have access to pre-K. That way they can get better education before they go into elementary school. And I think these are all huge W's. Education is important, and the earlier that you can get kids involved, the better it is for their cognitive development. A question that I've been asking myself is, should other states follow? And I feel like the immediate answer is yes, but there's a little bit more thought into that. The reason why New York is able to do this is because they have so many people. They got multimillionaires and all these big companies investing in their skyscrapers. There's a lot of money to be earned in New York City through taxes alone. But not all other states have that luxury. I mean, New York City in itself has more than double my state's population, which is kind of crazy to say, but it's true. New York is one of the biggest places in the world. So it's no wonder that they could come up with that amount of money. I'm not sure if other states could, but $6.5 billion for one of the biggest cities in the US, that doesn't sound that bad. Obviously, it's going to be hard to replicate that amount of money allocation in all states because the tax income just isn't the same. In my state, I wouldn't say that there's a lot of wealthy people. I mean, I live in Kansas, bro. Like, we got farmers, but I don't know if they're considered wealthy these days. I don't know if they ever were considered wealthy, but that's about as much as we got. And so for them to allocate that much money into our kids might be a little bit harder, but we'll see. Based off their tax information, I did try to look up how much income other states do to see if it was reasonable for other states to follow. For some reason, they have those tax numbers hidden harder than the secret Krabby Patty formula. And I don't know why they didn't want to give me a flat rate. All I could find were the per capita taxes, and it doesn't really speak to much because then I'd have to look up how many people are in each state or how many approximately people are in each state. And it's just not worth the time or investment. But I do think that it's great to have the open discussion about what other cities could follow. I think Chicago and Los Angeles are two big ones, but we'll see what ends up happening. I think this is super important and has a bigger idea because this is only Mamdani's 8th day in the office and he's already been able to accomplish this much. They always say that the first 100 days in politics are the ones where you want to go and make your promises happen. And I don't know a whole lot about Mamdani's political campaign. I wasn't paying attention to it. So I don't know if this is something that he said that he really wanted to do. But I mean, it definitely paints a great picture if you're giving my kid free healthcare. I don't have any yet, but if I were in New York and I did have a kid, this would be awesome. And New Yorkans voted for him. They loved him. And this is just an amazing step in the right direction. I also think it opens up the discussion for maybe both sides trying to agree on maybe healthcare isn't actually something that we should talk about because this is an experiment and I really hope that it goes well. People like to say, oh, this could never work. There's too much money being allocated in this and people are going to take advantage of it. But now we really get to see if that's the case. I'm sure that even if it proves to be working really great, there's going to be people trying to nitpick or point at things that are wrong about this, which is going to be unfortunate. But and overall, I really do think that this can unite some people, and maybe if it goes successful enough and other states start to follow, maybe it can become a universal healthcare right given by the government. The overall idea, though, is that people like to be mean and divided, and regardless of what political party you are, this is great for everybody. This is something that me, my neighbor, and the neighbor down the street can all probably agree on. And if they didn't, then I might just have to say, like, you just hate your kids or something. Like, this is great. And I love uniting politics. Uniting politics don't really get talked about, where this is a common good for everybody. And this really sucks because I didn't see a whole lot of media coverage on this thing. Today's the 11th, and this bill was passed on the 8th, and I didn't hear about it until yesterday night, which is really surprising just because, I think this is a great topic to talk about. Not having to worry about paying for your kid's cancer treatment is miles and miles above anything that people could have asked for. So I know there's a little bit of glaze going on, but I think it's pretty fair to glaze at this point. But that's it for me. I'll stop with the soapboxing. I really hope that this New York project goes well, and maybe we can see some good things coming out of it. But I appreciate you all for watching the video. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you all have a great day.